of 60 people, there are 19 tables altogether. Some seating 2 guests, some seating
Four.
1.
how many? 4. Yes. So what's the question? Yes.
6 are seating 4 and the rest of them are seating 2.
What's the question?
The question is, how many guests are sitting in parties of 4, and how many guests are sitting in parties of 2?
Right. Same problem, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Draw a picture. Is the picture already on the board?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Here's another one, solved immediately. On a parking lot, there are cars and 2-wheel motorcycles. Cars, sedans, and 2-wheel motorcycles. 19 vehicles altogether. How many wheels? 60 wheels, right? It's the same problem. How many sedans and how many motorcycles? Same problem, right? You've already solved it. Yeah. Oh, here's the one that you would appreciate. On a test, you answered 19 problems correctly, and you got a score of 60. Some of the problems were worth 2 points. Some were worth 4 points. How many 2-part problems did you solve correctly? How many 4-part? The answer is already where? The point is this, that sometimes the problems may change in words or in situations, but it's still the same problem. So thank you, this young lady. I don't know your name, but you'll get an A for the class.
This is our Vice President of Academic Affairs.
Okay, thank you for the young lady.
I beg you, you still get A for the class.
Thank
You should have told me that. I thought you, well, you know, I'm not accustomed to seeing so many, I'm not used to, in my teaching career, I didn't see so many adults in the class. So I assume you were the, nice to meet you. Okay. Oh, that was very good. That was very good.
Yes.
Okay. Another, you have to tell me about time also. I have no idea. I don't wear a watch because I
My dean will let me know when it's time to wrap.
Yeah.
He's always,
Okay.
20 minutes.
okay, you have 20 minutes.
Let's see. Oh, here's one. I saw this one in the Washington Post, and I call it a brain teaser. And so here's the question. There are 3 people. Each one has $10,000 that they're going to invest, $10,000. And person number 1 says, I'm going to invest my money. The first year I'm going to put in $20,000. I'm sorry, I can invest at 20%. But then the next year, he found out, she, that the interest rate was only 2%, a big drop. That's not surprising these days. But the next year, the interest rate was 3%, which is a little bit better, but he went from 20% down to 2%, down to 3%. Well, person number 2 wasn't as lucky the first year, and they discovered only a fund that would pay 3% the first year. And the next year, just 2%. But he was lucky. She, 20% the third year. So there was 3%, 2%, and 20%. Person number 3, first year, could only find a fund paying 2%. But the second year, she was lucky, and found a fund paying 20%. But then the third year, she found only 3%. Now, each one had started out with $10,000. Who ended up with the most money at the end? You can't do any calculations. No calculations, no computer, no calculators.
The second
No
one.
cell phone.
Who would get the most money?
Second.
Which one?
The second one.
The second one, and the second one was 3, 2, and then 20. 3, then 2, then 20. You say the second one. Now you change your mind. The first one, make up your mind. First one, okay. Anybody, you're not supposed to do any calculation. What do you think, young lady?
They all come out the same.
Yeah,
Beg pardon?
They all
agree.
come out with the same amount.
yes,
But it's different rates.
yeah.
Huh, I mean, you think they all come out with the same, but you think it's number one. Any other intuitive feelings? No calculation now. Anybody who thinks maybe, remember the first one is 20%, then 2, then 3. The second one, 3, 2, 20, and the third, 2, 23. You still say it's the first one. Anybody else who thinks it's the first one? Who's afraid to say anything?
Y'all come out and say.
Well, actually, this was in Marilyn Savant. I read her in the Post. And I'm going to be honest, my first inclination was thinking, well, maybe the person who did the 20% at first might be better off than the others. I mean, that was kind of intuitive, get the most you can at the beginning. That was my feeling, I'm gonna be honest. But then I thought, no, I wrote it, and then as soon as I started writing it down, okay, I said, okay, the first one, I said, okay, they got, I'll just say X for the amount of money, because it doesn't really matter how amount of money. I said, well, the first one is will end up with 1.2%, 1.2, right? 1.2. That will be the end of the year, right? And the next one, I said, well, maybe the 3% might be best. And that would be 1.03. And then, of course, as soon as I wrote down the next one, I thought, stupid, 1.02. And of course, what is true? Does it matter in what order you multiply? So the young lady up there is correct.
What is your name? Genevieve.
But honestly, I'm honest, I just thought, maybe you make the most money you can at first. Make that 20% and then it'll be better. But as soon as I wrote that down, I thought, no, really. Now, I said to myself, now really, you should know better. But I really had to write it, I had to write it down and realize that multiplication is, what's the word? Is what? Community. Okay.